Alright, so the stuff's out on the street.
I don't know the craving.
How are you?
Tired.
Tired?
So how are you?
Yeah. I'm just glad that the cold is already subsided a little.
Cold this weekend, maybe.
No way. Oh,
Maybe it's supposed to freeze again.
I spoke to Leela the other day again, and she's going to go do the knock campaign for us.
For the church,
Yeah.
or for your group.
Yeah, for our group.
Awesome. Is she gonna provide you with more?
Yeah, she said she would. She would provide me with some. And sad thing is like one of our church members, her son just died from overdose. Joe was his name. When was it? I don't know. The American basketball very much. So, what was Joe's last name? Teresa's son? I don't know his last name. Yeah, that's different. That's what we're looking at there.
All right.
I think he needs a phone call there. I believe so. Taylor boys and babies.
Yes. That whole house needs help. It's just hard to reach them. They need work.
Hopefully I can get in there and do something, because I do have ties to them now, you know, like, hopefully I can get in there and do something and try to make them a change on that. Anyways, I'm gonna try and reach anybody and everybody that I can.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Leela went to my house on the 4th. We had I cooked tamales and they came over and we talked about that. She's like, oh was surprised. Gave me a warning. She's like, yeah, but I didn't know you were.
She was my parole officer.
Yeah, she was welcome.
She was my parole officer. They were pretty strict with me, but it made an impact. It made a change, you know. I'm just glad for that. And, we're gonna give it our best. Hopefully, like we talked about last time, you know, that in the next year or so, maybe we'll be doing this full time. You know, I mean, we dedicate a lot of our own time as it is, but full time would be better. To be able to go to houses like that and distribute Narcan and stuff. That could have saved a life this week or last week. You tried, Chief. I mean, David Miranda's espresso machine. He just gave me a cup, and goodness, it's hard to sit still with that.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hard to sit still
Right,
with
you doing all
that.
right?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah, just tell me. How's things been for you? Just kind of just meh.
Hated the weather.
Still here and there. Jump over the thing on. I know. I don't like this weather. I like to be sweaty. I'd rather sweat than be cold.
I can always cool off, I don't like being cold.
I'm waiting to see when the ravioli's right, not the ravioli. The Gabby Pitt's gonna do my picture or something.
Which sandwich you want to keep forever?
The ones that I heard that are really good sandals that have support are like the ones that kind of look like the Jesus sandals. The ones that have kind of the straps on the top, but they actually have an arch. The Jesus ones are pretty good. They're kind of pricey, but they're good.
Hey, Robbie.
Yeah, I think personally they were going this special. Did you guys take everything out in there?
Pretty much it did some,
There's towel.
towels that goes in there somewhere. Hey, Patty, why do you wipe your hands? Why do you wipe your hands?
What, did I?
Yeah. Can you come out of the bathroom?
Yeah. It's in that big bowl right there, and that's wash your hands. Yeah, I was gonna skip that one up there. Just making sure I was doing it right.
Pretty good.
The sheriff did one. No, you don't.
We know, right? Doing all right?
I got called in this time. I said, this is the way. Anybody got this one over there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a lot to see over there.
Oh, yeah. And
You used to think you're right. You tried to join the league.
Get out of here. It's great. I try not to come see you very often.
I know, and I appreciate that.
She was eating hot chocolate. That's the extent.
But I heard there was coffee, so, you know, I was like, I'm gonna join.
Sir, how are you?
There's coffee in the back.
Allows that. We need to take that out now. One of my applicants asked, what time do y'all serve coffee? I said, also serves 24 hours a day. Sorry, sir. He didn't join our group for some reason.
You didn't join your crew, huh?
He's a little narrow-minded about coffee. I don't care for it. Not mine. Apparently this is.
I know it. Every day.
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you?
He's got a heat lamp on it.
It's all right. How's your day been?
No, it was, started off unproductive.
Okay.
And ended up somehow, so Friday we had like a series. We're on the other.
Okay. Hey, I understand those days.
And so by the time people got back, that made my day that bad. I just sent them home. I was frustrated. But they had failed to do some other things. So I was so furious. And I thought, well, I'll go down there on Saturday. I had stuff on Saturday. I'll go Sunday. Monday. So I send one guy down there. So I send these guys to finish what we're supposed to do. He's going to finish the cleanup. Well, come to find out, they need this piece back over here, which kind of just rolled into taking care of all the stuff. So it turned out all right, but it started that.
But it started from who? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even.
Yeah, I can be quiet. I just wanted to get your cell number.
Okay.
All I could think of was 1-800, yeah, that's wrong, sorry.
631.
What's up? City manager.
And I'm assuming that you know who I am.
Oh, yeah. Keep it on the table.
Okay, well, actually, I was gonna ask you that. One movie, I was gonna try not to be a smartass about it. I was gonna ask you, say, hey, I don't sell real estate anymore. And he probably doesn't, talk about city items anymore, so.
Yeah.
I really, if you want to know, I figured if people don't know the difference, then it doesn't matter anymore.
What's that, brother?
We've had newspapers in newspaper, people have.
No, I was out of clothes in the closet.
One time.
There's all that's left.
There was
I didn't have time to wash clothes yesterday.
along with someone's name.
I just threw it on there.
I figured you renewed your vows or something, the way you look at it.
Well, and I wouldn't have known that city manager.
No,
He
I
said he
figured y'all want me for my work clothes.
It's not a big deal.
I sure throw it on.
I said, you know, he and I have been confused with each other for many,
Hey,
many years.
if you tell the boy to come by.
So I get a phone call and say, hey, I see you have this house over on blah, blah, blah. You got the wrong one. I said, I have houses, I have a lot of houses, but I don't have one and it's not.
So you come visit.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
I've actually called the other Robbie, wanting to call you.
gotcha. So anyway, I appreciate you taking care of all of it.
I'm also trying to get their cell numbers.
Ask away.
I get your cell number. Since I'm covering Lovington.
575-370-1434. You can find it on most Cola Solar's places with your link.
No, I mean, we didn't get it last time. There's
1434.
You said where?
well, just simple.
Bathroom.
You got it? I know. Well, go back. Good. Yes.
Radio's okay with me calling you after a meeting, the day after a meeting or something?
The day after works good.
So
for
they're
me.
supposed
I'm
to.
just answering myself.
If you call, I'll either tell you yes or no, based on how busy my schedule is.
I gave him my things
So
for the other
if I have time, I'll
Yeah, I
later
did
on or
too.
something like
Okay.
that, but what I have going on at the time.
I printed her a copy of it with that.
No, I can't.
I have a few minutes, I'll go get it taken care of. That's what she used to do.
This right here.
It's up to discuss.
I know, I got it.
Just getting
Great.
stupid. Maybe it's.
Wait, which one are you talking about? Oh, this one? Oh, okay.
All of it.
Yeah, no, usually Tuesday is about the best day for me during the week. But I'm like him.
But it is always hard to.
I will let you know. I'll hit, and then you're gonna have to send me a text that has your name so that I can enter it when you call me. Good. All right, thank you.
We have, so.
Oh, really?
Scotty's like me. We have a minimum of 5 Mondays.
Today, but then our other ones are.
And it can be
We're
7.
gonna reroute and try to be.
I hate those weeks, but yes,
I'll be there. I'll go through those.
that happens periodically.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's that aspect of it, you know? Well, what's about the things we do?
Sometimes
I told
there's
you when we read that.
Mondays.
Ain't that the truth?
Remember I told you if we ever fix the road and then why you'd have to move it? Oh, yeah.
Well, they were outside.
Oh, you were sitting right next to it.
No, I know. So when I came in, they were.
And, you know, when we did all those other.
What do you know, sir? Is he what?
Freak out.
Oh, wait, we're still 2 minutes away.
No,
from
yeah, we
this.
still got away.
Oh, yeah. He's a 5 o'clock.
We say skip.
Get that water?
He's even a minute ahead.
I think, well, at least rest up until March, when March wins.
Okay. I had a question on, and I don't want to spend time. Hang on, I gotta get to your, it's not your report, it's the city manager's report, but it has your information.
If they have questions, they can send them.
Yeah, look how pretty he looks, man.
No. I know that's what that was.
I think he's competing with Larry, but it is.
Not even.
Not even.
I better take the clothes. I only got a few options.
Okay.
I'm pretty well there.
You probably saw the agenda, it's real short. You said, I got time to go eat tonight, I'll look nice, right? That's what it is, right?
No. So, closed session, we'll take priority.
We're not
It's
gonna
almost close.
Patrick's
So-
sign.
Last name and question.
Right.
It even got shorter.
Okay.
You want me
An
to
alarm
Well, if somebody calls for a spouse, somebody calls for a gas leak, public service, that kind of stuff. Yes, sir. Not actual firefighters.
Gotcha, okay. Well, it just took
Is that your
a big jump.
I was all no, it's not.
Another
My one's so
Heaters,
pretty.
people using their heaters in the summer, and it's been cold.
I was figuring out
Yeah,
that was
Last
hard.
4 years, so they're turning on their heaters and they're the gas leak. So carbon monoxide alarm is also, they call us.
You know, I had one standing rule that I always did if I did something.
I think that's still one.
I gotta keep
If there's a fire,
There's probably more than I
under
realized.
any circumstance, do not throw gas and never burn.
It's cheaper, ain't it?
It's tremendously cheaper.
Sure, I tell my kids.
Billy O'Reilly is gone and retired.
Get out of the house. Right.
Take your time, just get it. I said, cause I said, I want you
He
to.
looks white, but he's black.
Watch 40% of students.
Yes.
Well, it's what he's moving, this guy's, you guys think that you're great.
They don't say the exterior wall.
He goes,
So I tore down the middle, and it showed somewhere it had burned down. There's no way, it's a burn.
he's like on a scale of 1 to 10,
There's
she's
no way I
like,
can
on a scale of black and
repair
white.
this wall. I put the insulated board on the inside. That's okay. I like to be right. Sit down next to him. Because my demo would have been twice as fast. I was careful, trying to save everything.
We heard lots of stuff.
Anyway.
Yeah, that fire fire goes places like water does.
Oh,
Either smoke
exactly.
damage, fire damage.
How are you, sir? I am doing.
We say Jose.
I watched the whole thing. I like the
Which one?
She reminds me of someone
Yeah.
who was that tall.
Yeah, I just watched the snippets of it.
It gets kind of dry towards the end.
Patrick is sick, Melissa is sick, so we won't be in the session.
That's what I was,
Yes, sir.
And
He called me this afternoon.
you're gonna make that, whatever, you're gonna remove the closed session.
remove the closed session?
What else can we remove?
We can remove the non-action.
All he's gotta do is just ask for whatever.
We don't want him to miss the pledge and the invocation.
We can do those three, they don't take that long. We can eliminate, the staff reports.
It's not Thanksgiving.
That'd save us an hour.
Well, hey, half of the staff is gone.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but he made up for it with the paper not being over here.
Hammered away.
Gives us a packet like this to read, it's like homework.
I know.
I try to hide from him on Friday. Just tape your mailbox shut. Hey, what happened to the good old days where they gave us this?
Yeah.
That's all there was.
Someone wanted transparency.
Somebody want to
Yeah.
What's going on?
No, but that's, no, but Scotty's going, but Scotty's going back to when we had Rhonda here. Now Rhonda, she got an award every year for on-time audit, good job, good everything. So when she turned her report, it was like, he was, you know, it was, yeah. Yeah, she got awards every year too.
On-time.
I love Rhonda. I asked her to come back and help us, and Dennis, and she was like real receptive, and Dennis said, "You can do it, but I'm getting it worse." And I was like,
Yep, that's what I got out
and
of it.
Rhonda was like,
Yep.
Yes, he was the best.
Everybody ready? We got 2 seconds here.
This hammer, nobody said no different.
Nobody knows different.
Hey.
"Yeah, we're always on time. You're not listening."
Oh, Isabella's bringing it. There we are.
He said, "We're
All right.
always on time."
I call this regular session of the Lovington City Commission to order. Shannon, roll call, please.
Mayor Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Bowe,
Here.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Bowe, would you lead us in our invocations?
Please bow your heads, pray with me. Dear Lord, we thank you for letting us gather here on this beautiful day. Please keep watch over our first responders, our city employees, our community, and our commission as we open our hearts and minds to thoughtful discussion, respectful dialogue, and a shared commitment for the betterment of our community. We give thanks for your wisdom to guide us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well done, sir. Join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
You may be seated. Oh, I've got a whole pocket full of those.
All right. Hey, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for this evening with a removal of the closed session, since we have some people that are not here.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda with the closed session removed. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Shannon?
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the consideration of the minutes of January 13th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second for the adoption of the minutes. Any discussion, corrections? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. All right, brings us to our staff and commission report. Ms. Shannon, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, I have your checks, so don't leave the meeting without them.
I promise you, that's probably the one thing that make sure, you know?
Hadn't gotten them
Well, I
yet.
got dressed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just got paid today.
Hold your hair, everything.
So, also, an email came through, y'all might have seen it, from the Municipal League about the session, the legislative session this year, and some of the things that they'll be dealing with. Among those is focused on clarifying and modernizing the Inspection of Public Records Act, and updating the state's municipal code, amplifying the impact of EMS funding, and increasing funding to municipal water infrastructure. So that's something for everyone there.
Good.
And, yeah, and then there's a more in-depth report on there, as well as it's kind of a report on their work that they've done on the IFRA, the Inspection of Public Records Act, about bringing that up to date, making it more usable. So you might want to check that out, Mr. Clark. And that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Isabel?
No, sir, not today.
Nothing today.
Nothing's good.
All right. Chief?
Yes, sir. Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, our officers' activity will be covered under the City Manager's report. Just want to report that we have 2 uncertified people that we gave conditional offers to. And Detective Grady, want to speak a little bit on the honor guard.
I'm prepared this early. Good evening. I have a few things to give to you guys. So as I talked to you previously, we made an honor guard. So I have a few things here. These are going to be the patches that are going to be worn on the uniforms. And then I also was able to get some coins made for trading purposes with other honor guards when we're sent on missions. So we are fully functional now. I wasn't able to get anybody to come in. We've all been just a little bit busy. But as soon as I can, I will present you guys with the new uniform. So that you can see what it looks like. And we'll be available to do parades and functions for the city, the schools, flag presentations, any and anything that we're called for. I previously ran the honor guard for HPD, and we were called to state functions as well when Governor Martinez was in office. So I look forward to doing that step again and getting our honor guard trained here.
Awesome.
Okay.
Congratulations.
We have a little special project coming up. Boyston's will be happy to hear that code enforcement and patrol is going to do a little project on illegal parking around town.
Okay.
So they'll be hitting that. And then here in a little bit, we have a resolution on opioid funding. And then we have a guest that'll be speaking at that time.
Okay.
That's all I have, sir.
All right. Questions, anyone? Looks like you're good.
Thank you.
Fire Chief?
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so construction is still ongoing in Station 1. We're getting new flooring throughout the building, so it takes a while, but they are moving along. They're doing good work. We've had some mishaps with a few different agencies on some recent vehicle accidents way out. So we're hosting a landing zone class with several of the agencies to hopefully fix some of this. We'll have State PD, City PD, New Mexico DOT, Lovington Fire Department, and hopefully some Tatum Fire Department
This class is going to be on Wednesday, the 29th at Fire Station 2. So it's a landing zone class so everybody's kind of on the same page. ISO is scheduled to be here on February 26th for an inspection. So our current ISO rating is a 4. Hopefully with everything we've added, the new people, ladder truck, the new station, everything, we can hopefully drop to a class 3. That's what we're hoping.
Because we haven't had one since 2018.
We haven't had one, I believe, since 2018. Was the last one we had. So we did hold promotional testing last week. We promoted 3 lieutenants and 2 driver engineers. And we are having some plumbing problems at the station, and I have received some quotes, and I'm still waiting on some quotes, but it's the normal. Just put out one fire and have another. So at this time, that's all I have, but I will stand for any
Well,
questions.
since you're putting flooring in, you can bet you're gonna have to dig a trench right in the middle of the new flooring for the plumbing, so.
Right now,
Way
at
to go,
least
Mr. Monday.
right now, at least it's outside. So.
Oh, okay, well, good. That's always fine. All right, Commissioners, I'm sorry. We're a quiet bunch today. All right. Thank you, Fire Chief, appreciate it. Commissioner Bolt.
Yes, again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Again, as I normally put out, please help our local community businesses out, shopping local, buy local, eat local. And just wanted to ask, David, do you happen to have any information on that collapsed water line that I brought up last time? In the alley there behind the bank?
Robert was working on that, yeah, behind, between Love and Main Street behind Wells Fargo.
Right.
Yeah, we addressed that.
That line's not collapsed. That line's a 4-inch line. The food truck that's parked in the back of that house is contributing to the problem here. It's got flow, we've tested it twice. Just that food truck, and that's stuff that goes in there, it's a dead end. So anything that get in there, it's gonna stay there.
Okay.
It's a lot of white peas, a lot of plastic black gloves that's in that line. They come from the food truck.
Okay, so are we gonna do anything to rectify that? Can
There's
we?
nothing we can do on that, the flow's good, everything's, the lines are good all the way to the alley.
Well,
What we can do to rectify it maybe is getting, yes.
Robert, does he have a grease trap? It should have.
Laura and I were gonna get on that tomorrow.
Yeah, because that's.
See what we need to do.
And that's what I was asking as far as anything to rectify it, not on our side, but.
Yes, sir.
On the
We was gonna
Right.
say, I'd already planned on getting tomorrow and going over and seeing what's going on there.
Okay.
Yes.
I know the new store, meat market does, but the food truck, I don't think they do, but that's, like I said, we're gonna get on it tomorrow.
And they're right
Okay.
there on the same line.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, thank you.
Commissioner Trio. I'm sorry.
Good, I'm good, thank you.
All right, Commissioner White.
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Gandy.
I have nothing to say.
Whoa, okay. We are striving to get through this.
We heard 4 pages, I can wait.
Okay, oh, that's true, we got city manager. All right, city manager.
Sorry. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as I detailed in my city manager report to you on Friday, our November GRT came in at $909,000, up from $810,000 the previous month. It compares to $1.08 million for the same period last year, and it reverses 4 months of declining GRTs in a row. Of note, retail sales made up 22.6% of our overall GRTs for November. We have taken swift steps to address matters in our finance department. We have retained Fiero & Fiero LLC to assist with bringing our financial records up to date and assist our auditors to collect all necessary data for our audit submission to the state. We had a Zoom call between Ed Fiero, Chris Garner of Batillo, Brown & Hill, and Melissa Boydston and myself on Friday. During that call, Chris provided us with a spreadsheet of all remaining reports he needs to complete our audit, and here's a breakdown. Unfortunately, that list was a little bit more than I was led to believe in terms of things we were missing. But between Ed and Chris, Melissa, and myself and the staff, we hope to get that to him in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Also, Christy Gassman has been moved to the finance department as she can assist with bank reconciliations, accounts payable, and payroll.
meaning Ed will have a staff of 4 to assist him in his duties. Additionally, we have retained an outside DFA expert to help us prepare our second quarter DFA report to the state. We will also have Leo Wilson come in and bring our capital asset listing up to date, which is one of the things the auditors need, which had not been kept up to date. One positive note on finances, we now are currently 56% through our fiscal budget year, and according to Tyler, we have only spent 38% of our budget so far this fiscal year, so we are ahead of the curve in terms of spending. And in my packet to the commissioners delivered on Friday, I provided the documentation from Waste Management and a copy of the letter from the city to citizens explaining the contractually obligated annual solid waste rate increase, which goes into effect in February. As the commissioners may remember, this rate increase is directly tied to inflation, namely the CPI, and this year was calculated to be 5.1%. This is a pass-through rate increase. That means for the average customer with one polycart, their bill will go up $1.49. Waste Management did also mention, as they always do, a voluntary fuel surcharge rate increase, but we all know the answer that they will get for that, because that was going to be an additional 4%. So they didn't want to come and present again. We have a lot of good news and positive progress to report for various projects. On Friday, we had our first on-site construction meeting for the Veterans Memorial Project with the architect, planning and zoning, and various contractors and subcontractors. I am happy to report that Ramirez and Sons will start scraping the site down to subgrade level beginning next week. The city has contracted with Computer Transition Services, or CTSI, for City Hall cybersecurity and data backup. This includes an on-site backup as well as remote cloud backup. It also includes monitoring of all endpoint protection, including virus and malware activity, inbound and outbound mail filtering, data loss prevention, URL defense, social media protection, on-demand email encryption, weekly security scans to prevent and detect cyber threats. A separate contract will involve CTSI's data backup continuity disaster recovery service. Finally, they will help us develop our own IT protocol policy, which we do not have, which is becoming essential these days and will even help us with our audit and even might bring our insurance rates down. Cybersecurity is a huge threat these days. Next, the city has contracted with Harold's for a comprehensive program to help us with the grass at all our city parks. Spring is around the corner. The grass at our city parks has not had a comprehensive care program in about 20 years. Harold's treats many city parks and golf courses in Texas and New Mexico. This contract covers up to 100 acres, 60 of them being Chaparral Park, and will be applied by both the Harold's personnel and our own Parks and Rec employees. It includes application throughout the year of pre-emerge AMS fertilizer, 31-00 fertilizer, additional iron treatments, other substances, as well as soil testing. Harold's advised that we should first attack the goat heads and the weeds, and next year we can start to reseed. They have also advised on measures we can take to address the gopher problem. They begin stage 1 the first week of February, so we are getting started in time for spring. If we have any additional chemicals left, we can apply them at the cemeteries. They will not stain the gravestones. Finally, I spoke with Joe Rollins of Albertsons on Friday. After initial construction costs came back on the high side, they slightly revised their project plans and are awaiting final corporate approval. The supermarket will still be bigger than the Hobbs store, and we will still have the C store, which is the gas station. Albertsons has been in contact with Ramirez and Sons about beginning the roadway improvements and other aspects of the project, and Joe states that we should prepare for a groundbreaking in mid-February. And as of today, they have already applied for a state construction permit. You have to stand for any questions.
Okay, questions? Wow, okay.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks. A lot of good news to report.
Exactly. Ms. Ball?
Mayor and Commissioners, so I attended the pre-construction meeting for the new Hawk system. That's the crosswalk that's going in up by the hospital that NMDOT is putting in. So they have a contractor, it's supposed to be electric. This is where the crosswalk will be going. Right across just to the north side of their entrance, straight across to the parking lot of their other buildings across the street. The contractor has a 40-day like completion schedule, but they have like a 90-day order their material schedule because it's Buy America, Build America, so they have to have all the right materials. And so DOT says they're not going to start the project until May 24th, but then when they do start it, it'll go very quickly because they're supposed to have all materials on hand once they start the project. There'll be some electrical work going underground, little patching, minor pavement there in that area. The main thing will be the billards and the signage on the sides. Then we have the, I'm submitting a grant I want to submit a grant for a new truck route design. So up on the screen, this grant has a no match funding to help me get the design and all the like environmental stuff you gotta have done, all the traffic studies, right? This grant is to get that technical assistance to do all that. This is the concept. It would actually go straight across into commercial and then cut straight back east towards on Gov instead of having to go down by the hospital and around that way for the truck route. This would be a great place. It would make all our truck routes a concurrent circle around town, which would help alleviate a lot of the confusion on trucks not knowing where to turn for the north truck route, the south truck route, things like that. So I just wanted to let you guys know I'm trying to write for this grant. The thing about this grant is it's an online submittal, and the ladies that were telling me about last year's grant awards was the people who submitted in the first 5 minutes of the grant opening. And this grant is like 20 pages long, so you got to copy and paste real fast. Yes, because I'm like, I don't even know. But she said, there were tons of them, not me. But I'm going to attempt so we can try to get something going to get this truck route alleviation. I've talked to the owners of that property a few times. They are not against us doing something like that.
Always good.
I got a totally different
Vibe from them?
Yeah. Apparently they must have been nice to you, but
They are.
not happy with me.
Oh, okay. And so that one I'll try to submit for. Then
Can we go back to that one before you go any further?
Sure.
Because I want to understand a little bit more right there.
Okay.
So I understand you're coming, we're headed, we'll say that's west, down 82, and we're turning onto what is, that's not Deer, that would be Gum Street.
It would be Gum Street.
So how are you exiting if you're headed back east?
So you would come to the intersection just like you do at Commercial and go across. That's why you see the little green arrow, those are like islands.
So you have two turn lanes there, one to go back into town?
One to go back in regular traffic, right? Vehicle traffic, no, just
So are we
trucks.
closing off Deer Duff then?
No.
You can't, because that's where our ambulance.
I understand, I'm
Yeah.
asking questions, so I understand that. Because
But
I
we
don't
wanna-
understand I don't understand having a turn lane there at all.
Yeah.
And
Well, because
at
we
that
want to
point,
keep the big trucks away from the hospital.
I
That's our
understand.
main thing, was trying to get them to quit going through where emergency has to go in for the ambulance. That's the main thing about getting this up there, is getting the big trucks. So yeah, I mean, but for DOT to approve it, I have to put a turn lane going back in.
I figure you're gonna get kicked back because that right of way is within 8 foot or less of that door of that building.
That building will probably have to go away.
It's not going to though.
The new dispensary, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the new dispensary
And
is
let's
way away
understand, because I
from
know
it.
they had some management changes here
Yeah,
recently.
the new dispensary they built is further away from that. That's that
Yes.
old little
That's that little
house.
White House.
That,
Yeah, it's gotta go because it's right in the way
Yes,
of the whole
it would have
process.
to go.
But they're, Did they ever occupy that? They did a little work to it, but I don't know that they ever.
They did never occupy it, but they are now using it as a nursery for their plants.
Okay.
So, yeah, that'll be fun. So, okay,
Yeah.
move on.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Crystal?
Next slide. Oh.
I'm sorry, can I chime in a little bit?
Sure.
Crystal? So I'm David Rowe, I drew that diagram.
Oh. Okay.
So just a couple of notes on this for the commission in the room. What would probably be is some of those lanes you're seeing will be one directional. So it would kind of be like right out and right in as you're approaching the highway. And then that one in the center would be where you're allowed to make your left turn. And then the other note here is way back when the DOT studied this intersection for the Main Street project, at that time, it was projected to require a street light. So that's not factored into anything we're doing here, but that intersection and the key place it holds within the town, you know, it's leading itself to needing the light one day. So just wanted to drop that for you. Thank you.
Like when you say light, are you talking traffic light, or are you
Yes,
talking
yes, sir.
just a
Red
light
light.
bulb out there?
Red light for you.
Like the rest of our
Traffic.
intersections, just a little bulb. I just want to make sure I'm
That'll
clear.
help the hospital
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, that would help the hospital, slow down the traffic for that
But then it slows it
crosswalk.
down for Albertsons, and,
Yeah.
but it limits how fast I can get to KFC.
Well, that's it. You can't go there right now. Anyway, yeah, you can. You can still go to KFC. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to get difficult here in a little while.
Yes, it is. All right. I think we can move on.
All right, so then I also have to get ready for the TAP grants, which the TAP grants last year, or this is the first time I'm doing a TAP grant. This is that Washington one that you guys gave me the resolution on. So I'm still in the process of that submittal. I did get approval from the NMDOT to apply for this grant. So then it has to go through the whole recording system, but I did get concurrence with them and their right-of-way specialists to do this project, so. That one's on the board too. We already did a resolution on that one. And then I had the next one. So preparing for the TPF grants. These are the 2 grants to mill and overlay several different streets within the road. This is the same one I submitted last year that we did not get. We only got the microsil project. So I will be submitting for these same 2 to take care of some of these various roads. It is streets like East Avenue R from Main to Commercial, East Avenue C from Main to Eddy, West Adams, 5th Street to 9th Street, North 6th Street, Adams to Jefferson, West Avenue I from 2nd to 9th. The second one is East Jackson, Main to Eddy, West Harrison, 6th to 9th, East Harrison, Main to Love, North 5th Street, Jefferson to Central, East Washington, Commercial to Industrial, and then McAllister Drive, which is Main to Bryan Erlacher there. Little white sheet. Did you have any questions on any of those roads? And I may have to cut it down just because the cost of construction, keeps going up, and the grant is still capped at $2 million. So I may have to get rid of 1 or 2, but there is another LGRF grant I can go for. If I have to remove one, I can put it on a different grant. So I got about 6 different grants I'm writing for right now.
So I have a question on 17th.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember exactly, but from Avenue D back around to Avenue R,
Mm-hmm.
is that county, or is that, did we do some land swapping and end up with that?
It's split in different areas. County maintains it, we maintain it. There's the county maintenance department has a map, but even they don't agree with their map. So, yeah,
It's
17
not
around
it's-
the north side is pretty much supposed to be ours, except for where we rebuilt it.
Okay.
Amazingly, we rebuilt that, but yet
In the
that's
county?
the part the county takes care of, right?
Of course. So, but I know that from the south, headed south, it's very rutted and different things, but I just didn't know if that was ours or theirs,
Okay.
or where we need to leave pressure onto, because at some point, there's not gonna be anything left.
And maybe something I'll look at doing a joint thing with them,
Okay.
since we do share so many of those responsibilities on that road.
Okay, thank you.
I know they've said South 17th around from D all the way around to Erlacher is ours. So,
Good.
Okay.
All right, and then, I think that was all I had. We did have the pre-bid for the Jackson Avenue project construction, for the widening of that and the ADA improvements. Was glad to see several bidders here. It was nice to not just have one or two. We had a good crowd. So that'll be, the bid closes on the 5th of January. So the first commission meeting in February, we should be able to let you guys look at who you want to award that to.
You said 5th of January.
Oh, sorry, February.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, that's it. And do you have anything for me?
Questions? Doing great, thank you. Kevin?
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to give a quick update on one of the main one of the topics last meeting was the water bills or the utility bills, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we've finished processing and calculating everything, and they should be sent out tomorrow for this next billing window that's technically due on the February 17th, because I believe the 15th is on a weekend. So people now should hopefully have at least 2 weeks to look at their bills and plan accordingly. Just wanted to give you, unfortunately Mr. Boydston, I don't know he was here, but he left, but I just wanted to update you guys as well on that situation.
Thank you. Did you say we were going to hold Mr. Boydston's?
Just give it to Mr. Jandy, he'll handle it.
I'll handle it next month.
That's what I meant, yeah. All right, thank you, Kevin. Anything further before we move on? Seeing none? All right, brings us to our public comment time. If anyone in the audience has something they would like to hear or would like to tell the commission, we ask that you step forward to the podium. Please say your name and then take up to 3 minutes, kind of tell us what you would like us to hear. And no, what you have to say, we won't spend long, so if you've got something to say, come on, don't be shy. I see no one moving, so we will move on. Yeah, it's going to be. Oh, I'm not going to say that right now. I did.
Roll forward.
Exactly.
Roll forward.
All right, brings us to our non-action items.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, last summer we re-engaged Pettigrew and Associates to do a comprehensive water utility master plan analysis, namely Mr. David Roybal and Wei Sun of Pettigrew and Associates. And we've been meeting with them and talking with them since then, basically to get an overall grasp on the state of our water field, the 18 water wells south of town, the concern by the commission about us having one single 24-inch transmission line for 5 miles from there to town, and basically what are our priorities going forward. And they're here to present to the commission. I don't know if this is the final report, but we're close, right?
Yeah, this is an update. There's a few things we want to add into a final. You're going to receive a written document, and there's a few things we've got to add to that document. Are we ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, thanks for inviting us here today. My name is David Roybal. I'm the engineering manager for Pettigrew and Associates. I'm asking for a little bit of your attention and grace today, as I'm not the best public speaker, but hopefully we have an informative discussion. We're here to just talk about some of the modeling and studying we've done so far and lay out just a couple of ideas as a progress update. This type of subject is kind of hard to get into in PowerPoint, so don't want to take too long. But if there's questions we want to go deeper into it, we can take the time now, or any of you guys can contact me. I'll give my information after. So I'm going to run through this presentation that Wade Sun at our office prepared. So if anything looks good, credit him. If anything looks bad, blame me.
Blame me.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, and really I want this to be interactive. So if there's questions, just stop me. and we'll go into it. So we did a water utility master study for the city of Lovington. I'm probably not going to read from the slides directly because I'm not that good, but what that study entailed was we looked at the existing infrastructure. David, Miranda, and Robert gave us a lot of good information on some of the existing pipes that they had, but everything we had, we didn't dig up any pipes for this. We took information that was known or could be obtained from the field, and we built a water pressure network using software and a computer to calculate the pressures for water throughout the city. And that calculation kind of informed some of the pluses and minuses for the city water system. So that was the nutshell version of what we did, and everything that I go through is going to be based on that, seeing what some of the deficiencies were, some of the good things were, and at the end of this, we're trying to give you guys some things to prioritize for moving forward, and we're trying to issue a document that can be utilized for grant funding, that you can have on the back burner and say, look, the city's done this, we have a vested interest in making improvements, and that can be used to pursue water trust board funds or other federal grants. So that's kind of the aim for this study.
And David, is it fair to say we could use that in addition to the 40-year water study we did in 2023 with Shoemaker?
Yes, absolutely. So we're modeling the distribution side of the system. The water study was modeling availability and some of the production side. So you got the production where it comes out of the wells, from the aquifers to the wells, through the transmission lines, then to the city. Most of our focus has been on that latter part, the distribution side, the city network. So I'm really not a fan of just reading through everything. This is kind of a short version of what I just said. And one of the main points we're trying to deliver for this, you can barely see my mouse there. Is that visible to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a pretty nice snippet of the city distribution system and the main transmission line coming from the well field where you see the green down here. I don't expect anybody to read what's on there, but big picture is the source is a few miles away from where you need it. And we did a really, just to wake us up, like a little animation showing we got one pipe that comes into town. And that is a key ingredient for the analysis that we were doing. It's also, from a fatal flaw perspective, it's one of the main concerns that we had looking at this study. One pipe that feeds the whole city, something happens to that pipe, we're SOL until we get it up again. And just to diverge a little bit, I know we did some work down in Eunice, and they have a similar setup. They get their water out of Hobbs. They did have an outage on that one pipe, and basically
3 or 4 days.
Yeah, 3 or 4 days, citizens were without water, so it was.
And David, you estimated, depending on the time of year and demand, but we have less than 1 day's supply if something catastrophic were to happen.
Correct. If you take the tanks that are in town, the ones in their chaparral and the water towers, you compare that to average daily use for a typical citizen. And then this has been checked we've talked with Robert about it, and you have about 1 day of water in town to get through, and that's assuming nothing out of the order. That is a summer day, mind you, power usage, but it's not very long. This was another, we liked our graphics, so we just made some just to wake us up. So. Oh, definitely not Lovington, no. But a broken water line is the point here. We just wanted to see who's awake and who's paying attention. So we have one of the first things we did. Actually, the first thing we did isn't on the slide. We took all the data, tried to build a model from it, but then we used food to estimate demand. So demand is largely based on population and client customers. So part of the studying document we need to provide needs to have population projections. We've actually indirectly have been in contact with the Office of the State Engineer. There's many different ways to look at population projections. We ended up settling on the census data because it showed the most conservative values. But these are the numbers that were used and projected for use and demand in our model. And I'm gonna bring all of these up. So this is the slide that David Miranda alluded to earlier. We have a demand, I won't read all the numbers. This is the projected demand and the current usage. So they're real close to each other, but this one's about 10,000 gallons, no, 100,000 gallons short. All this is saying that you have a day or less of supply in town if something were to happen to your main transmission. There's other numbers supporting our calculation here. I'm going to skip through this unless there's any questions on what we were assuming for the model. Okay.
Do you have a total gallons that we can store in the city at this point?
Yes, that is.
Okay, I couldn't see it. I'm sure it was up there. but I couldn't-
3,850,000.
I'm sorry, say one more time.
3,850,000.
Correct. And then this number down here, that's the storage you have at the well field.
800,000.
Yeah, it was minimal.
And that's just booster one, right?
Yeah. So these projections down here are based on the population, showing the average demand increasing over time in tandem with population. This is what we use to build our model. And this is showing the growing demand over time as well. This one I don't expect anyone to read, but it was a point we wanted to make. This actually comes from the 40-year water plan. It details the age and condition of the water wells.
And I think half of them were built before 1970.
Yes. The main point on the title here is the aging system. We have this information on the water wells from previous investigation and studying. I don't actually have that information for your city distribution system. I have some knowledge. I've been working in Lovington since 2012, so we've done a few things around here, so I know what I've done, but there's plenty of other pipes we've never touched, and aging infrastructure is a constant concern, so it's a point we wanted to drive home and also factor into the report. Like, some of this stuff needs to be updated. It's probably working now. I don't actually think we have a lot of asbestos pipelines in the city.
We do have a few, but.
Yeah. So, but even the old structural iron and old PVC, yeah, they cause problems. We did a water line replacement on Main Street as a part of the DOT project. We learned a lot about what didn't work when we did that. So it's a point we wanted to make, and it's something that's going to be of importance in this report we're doing for planning purposes. Oh, and another slide there. This is a different subject, talking about some ongoing testing that the city's been doing. Again, don't expect anybody to read these numbers, but this documentation came from city staff, and it was testing the existing fire hydrants. In general, when you see the colors there, blue and green are good, serviceable. Red is bad, yellow is kind of in the middle somewhere. These are the results of pressure and flow on the city fire hydrants. We wanted to include this because that testing was done independent of our model, and we actually got to kind of get together at the end of it and compare notes. So that's a slide we have later on. Now this is the model itself. So this is a little hard to see, but this is the model that we built, and the different dots there of different colors indicate pressure that we calculated based on the population demand, the average water use, the information in the previous slides. We basically built this interconnected system modeled in a computer. Green is good, it's serviceable, meets most typical standards for daily use fire demand. Red is below standard. I've lost my mouse, there we are. So for the most part, there's not many pressure issues within the city. We have some out here. This area right in here is probably the lowest pressure area, and there's possible different reasons why that could occur and different solutions for it. We also, what you're not seeing is any planned future expansion like the Albertsons project mentioned earlier. We know a lot of that is going to go here on the north side, which would increase demand. So some of this changes it, but this is your existing condition model saying that many places in town are good. We have a few problem areas, but there's no major deficiencies. And what we did with this model, are there any questions on the colors before I jump forward?
Yeah, you said that the issues where the red is in that one area, and you said there's possible numerous reasons why. What are some of them?
Yeah, so some of them could be flaws in our data. Like if we got data saying there's a 6-inch pipe here and it's connected to a 3-inch pipe, and we modeled it that way, it might be bad, and maybe that in reality it's a 6-inch connected to a 6-inch. So some of that could be due to the data. We tried to fix things that didn't look right, but there might be some things that we got wrong. The other thing is if we are right and things are represented the way we have it modeled, some of those fixes could be as simple as, well, not running a 6-inch into a 3-inch, let's patch it out and get it
Right.
to a 6-inch.
Restricting the flow.
Yeah, so some of those things, pipe sizes or even the way they're configured, really hurt the pressure, and we can correct those relatively easily. In fact, we did a little bit of tinkering in the model and tried to fix it a little bit, and there's some pretty simple things that might up the pressure, but I do think this is still kind of a localized low spot where the pressures are kind of bad. So there might be little things we can do that get it up, but might be other things that are needed to get it perfectly in balance. But if we investigate it further, we want to make sure we know what's actually out there. That's step one. And I really think.
Address area?
Sorry?
Can you give us an address area, like north of the
It's
hospital?
over there by my house.
It's by David's house.
It's over by
All the
David's
water
house.
goes to his house, and then it diverts.
Oh, you don't say I'm filling my pool up, that's what I thought Mr. Boat said.
Pretty much north of the fire department and
Northeast corner of town.
east of Love.
And it's
That
kind of
whole
hard to
area.
read, a little hard to read here, but the red means it's less than 30 PSI, and we're looking for 60 PSI when we're doing this model.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask also, you said that with the fire hydrants, water pressure was measured off of them. How do you guys measure that? You have a gauge that you put on
We
there?
have
What do
a
you-
company that comes in and tests it every year.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the.
We're actually scheduled to have it done at the end of this month, beginning of next month, sometime, or yearly.
Now, with the areas that are in the red, are them in one central area or are them all over the place?
Well, there's different locations throughout the whole city, but there's a lot of them, like that one up to the right, just north of the fire department there. That whole area is pretty well known.
But it could also be that they're in different areas, as you were saying, could possibly be difference in pipe size.
Yeah,
And
we
stuff that-
were talking with Robert yesterday, he mentioned.
We replaced a couple of the hydrants in that area,
Mhm.
and a lot of them go from an 8-inch, restricted down to 3-inch. So that's,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
a lot of it's gonna be that way, you
Mhm.
know, and then some of the fire hydrants said do not work, and if they do work, but they're restricted, you know. They
Right.
push down some of that first, so.
Right. Well, I figure now's the time to be asking these questions. That's why I'm asking, because I'd like to know what we're looking at here. And I know it's not going to be 100% accurate, as you said. It's based on what we have
Right.
and knowing more when we get to it to find out, but I'm just wanting to basically get an idea on what possibilities could be, so.
Yeah, because right there, you got that big main line running right there north of my house, probably about a block away.
Well, that line right there, we did replace that hydrant on the corner of, what was it, Harrison?
Harrison,
Yeah.
Main,
And that one was restricted, it was from an 8-inch down to 6-inch to 4-inch to 3-inch. Was the hydrant, so that restricts a bunch, you know, it just, It is what it is, been done years ago, so.
When we saw other oddities when we were building this model, like, I can't think of an exact thing, but kind of something like a 6-inch line connected to 2 smaller lines on each side, which may be true, may not be true. If it's true, it's pretty simple fix. You want to bring the 6-inch to a larger main and connect it where there's good pressure. So some of those things require more investigation and actually picking it up.
Okay, thank you.
Are there other questions on this part? So, one of the things you were leading into that we were going to show is what we use that fire hydrant test data to try to validate our model, compare notes like I mentioned earlier. It's a bit tiny here, but one of these, this column right here is 10 random fire hydrant locations we picked of the many that were tested. We picked 10 and compared it to our model. So this is what city tested, and this is what we calculated in our model, and this is the percent difference. Some of the notable things about this, some of the ones that were noted as untestable or low pressure, our model said that there was very low pressure or negative pressure. So there's a little bit of validation there, and some of them were spot on. Like this first one, the fire hydrant test was 38 psi, and our model was 34 psi. And it's extremely close. So we feel that we got something somewhat representative of what's out there. Like I said, there's some odds and ends that might be off, but in the big picture, I think we have a picture. So. Yeah, that was the main point of this slide. So, are there any questions at this point? So, kind of the last part of our presentation, we looked at this on a bigger screen before. It's a little hard to read. One of the last points is getting into some next steps and recommendations. The final document we're going to issue is going to flesh this out a little bit more, but I've already touched on some of the big things that we want to broach with this study. We want to broach the issue of a single transmission line, come up with a recommendation of creating redundancy in there. What that is not fully fleshed out yet. That could be looking at options to explore other wells, other water sources. Excuse me. Could also be in developing a second transmission line from your well field. Really big picture stuff. This is, one architect told me one day, this is the spaghetti on the wall phase. You throw it up there and see what sticks, and then flesh it out later. But big picture recommendations, come up with a way to give the city another source to water, either to their existing well field or a new one. Am I phrasing that correctly?
Yep. And so to rehash our conversation from last week, is it safe to say that in weighing importance, that maybe a second transmission line and alternate wells are kind of more critical now than, let's say, a fourth water tower? Did we?
Yeah, so the
We
other...
talked about a fourth water tower at one point.
We did talk about a fourth water tower. The other priority of recommendations we've broached in this slide that you can't read is additional storage within town. Could be through a water tower
or a tank
or ground tanks. Since we don't seem to have a major pressure issue, ground tanks may be a better way of doing it.
And less expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, and less expensive. So in terms of what's more important, there are two separate projects to me. You find one to connect to a transmission line, a different water source, and another is look at your storage within town. It's one of the first we started talking about tonight. The storage to me is maybe not the more important option, but it's the more achievable option in a shorter time frame. Probably the less expensive option as well.
And just as a footnote, I would mention that the city is aggressively pursuing the 3 Lee County Electric abandoned water wells north of town. They range, if you're at the corner of Gum and 17th and you go west a mile, they start, and there's 3 of them. And that line ran eastbound, we think, behind the cemetery to the old plant by the overpass. And we've been talking to Mr. Ferris, and we're doing a feasibility study to locate that line, and we're told that that aquifer has not been touched in years, so there's a lot of good water there, and we could tie in. Not only would it diversify our water field, we'd have 3 wells on the north side of town, nothing to do with that transmission line. It's also near the hospital and some of those low-pressure areas, so we're looking at that.
Yeah, so, and those were the 2 high priorities, is find an alternative water source, so you don't have just one point of connection, and find a way to increase storage within the city limits, just in case in the event that you're cut off from the source for a period of time. And then we also just have some general best practice recommendations of citywide. Make sure we exercise your water valves, fire hydrants, keep up with the maintenance on that, and ongoing replacement of aging infrastructure. Those are all factors that we're going to recommend in this report. I don't have a full cost estimate at this time. I'm going to jump around again, but we did have some initial numbers that take every number you see with a grain of salt, because like Crystal said, cost goes up so fast these days. But just as a rough idea, running another transmission line from the well field to town, based on some regional numbers that I have, I'm coming up with around 6.5 million.
And that would be side by side pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's if we took pretty much the same route that it runs already from the well field to the city limits.
Although we don't know where it actually ties into the supply.
Yeah, again, missing data. We don't know where it ties in or how it ties in, for that matter. But if we wanted to have a redundant line for backup or as an alternate, if one line goes down, you're looking in that ballpark, around 6.5 million. And then for adding additional storage in town, we're looking closer to 2 million. Again, I put some very rough numbers together. There'd be a lot of details that are needed, but you also need to find the land for both of these cases. But just to give an idea of ballparks. So, I suppose that's the end of our slide. We did a couple of just pretty pictures that definitely aren't Lovington.
Looking a little closer.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Got a flare in the background.
That's Torio's pool.
Nice.
And Dave, to have a water conservation plan on the books would also help us obtain funding, right?
Absolutely, and I know we've dabbled in that before. We have a draft of the plan, but when you're looking at pursuing funding, especially through the Water Trust Board, you need to have the water conservation plan on the books. You have to have a resolution committing to it and show that it's being implemented. Those are key for getting state funds.
How much does one of our water towers roughly hold?
400,000?
We had the one, I think Polk would look, I don't know for sure, but it looks like a 200,000 gallon tank.
200,000, okay. Well, I just noticed on the bid it was only 30,000 gallons, and I'm like, the hospital goes
The
through.
ones that hold the most are out of Chaparral.
Right, they're huge, yeah, but no, I was just,
Oh, and that's what, we have property in that north area there in North Chavez. We own half a block of property.
Well,
So we wouldn't have to purchase the land, and that's where we have an issue with pressure. So, that's a possibility of putting some tanks on that location.
but don't we also own the property on the east side of the cemetery?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
So you can put tanks there.
Yep.
Which puts it close to the hospital, and you monitor, keep that.
And we have the,
entity
hopefully,
going.
coming from the 3 wells. We just have to put in a chlorination station.
That would be the other costly thing with the station.
So I know
And we're looking into that as well.
Mr. Shaw had discussed that, or at least looking at putting in some tanks just for them as well.
Yeah.
So that would help, because, I mean, every time we have to shut down a water line, we have to go supply water to the hospital and keep them pressured, so
Kind of.
something that close would.
What the hell do they go through?
What's that?
Or how many gallons a day they go through?
That's a good question.
What's that?
Normally on their 7 meters, you know how much they consume?
No, not off the top of my
I can get it
head.
to you.
I'm just curious.
It's not a lot. They spend a lot on their yard lines, on their, for the grass.
It would be beneficial to have a feed coming in from the north because of Albertsons and the hospital and everything else.
Yeah, it would be then you got that apartments there.
Yep.
Yeah, draws a lot.
Those
Yeah,
wells-
water's coming in.
The water under those wells hasn't been touched in at least 20 years, so it's.
Probably not. It's not stinking.
We've used a little bit at a well 10, well 9. But, you know, we run the water out of it when we did. And the water was nice and cold, so you could drink it right out of there.
I'm trying to figure out where exactly the line is.
What's that?
I wonder what depth it was drilled to.
I don't know, it might be marked on the box. I'd have to look and see. Yeah.
That's outside of what he's talking about.
Yep, yep.
Sorry about that.
It's all good discussions. We're finalizing our report and, definitely welcome any feedback or questions from the group. It doesn't have to be tonight. I can provide my information or they have my information, so just let me know if you have more thoughts on it or if you want to get together and talk about it. We're through the prepared slides that we had, so, sorry, that was a different presentation. So with that, we'll adjourn or we'll take any questions.
And the only question I have is related to Robert, the city manager. On the sand, how are we monitoring our sand buildup in our tank out there? Remember we had it like almost half full of sand the last time?
Yeah, we actually haven't gone out when next week.
They're gonna come out next week and finish booster 1, the tank on booster 1, it's still got 12 feet of sand in it. The rest of it is, the rest of the towers and the big ones, everything else is done. They're gonna go finish this tower next week. And then we'll do it once a year on a yearly thing, they'll go out there, they'll check the tanks and see how they're doing.
That tells us a lot about our well field if you start getting a lot of sand. Yeah.
When you get 12 foot of sand.
But it hasn't been checked since like
That's a lot of storage.
Yeah.
Exactly, it takes away from storage.
Yeah.
Robert, do we not have a sand knockout anywhere in our system from the booster station all
We've
the way
got
through?
3 valves there that are supposed to be for that, but they're frozen, and we've got Ramirez and Sons trying to schedule, we're gonna go replace a couple of those so we can start, washing them out and this and that stuff for the tanks.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, David, very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And Wade too, he's the brains.
Thank you. He's the silent, in the back, yeah. So. Anything further before we move on, city manager?
No, sir, unless there's any questions. We'll keep you updated on the status of those 3 wells.
Moves us to our action items.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion for resolution 2025-009, authorized distribution of opioid fund for local nonprofit organization.
Okay, I have a motion to take consideration of this resolution. Oh, that's you, okay.
Authorizing the distribution of opioid funds for our local nonprofit organizations. The city's has received opioid funding and at the amount right now of $203,532.53 from the National Opioid Settlement. And tonight this resolution would provide 8 different organizations in Lee County. Divided up amongst those organizations, $67,500.
Chief, can I make a clarification? So on here it says 203,000, but the amount to be dispersed tonight is only 67,000 of that.
That's the total is the 203,000. And tonight we are pleased to have one of our people, one from Higher Ministry, right here in Lovington, Nathan Lopez. Your second word.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan Lopez.
and really just wanted to get out here and put a name to the face to the name, however you say it. A little nervous. I'm never usually on this side of the the courts or anything like that. I'll give you a little background about myself. Chief and the city manager, they had their days of chasing me back in the days. I was a menace to society, if you would, but I'm pretty sure I had my own 10 code out at that time. But no, so my goal is to help people recover, because back in the days I was addicted to, you know, meth, anything I can get my hands on at the time. But my goal is just to help people out, just be that support system that I had for myself when I came home from prison. I did go to prison as well, and that was a very, very tough time in my life. But I believe that prison did a good thing for me. It taught me a lot of things and let me know that that's where I didn't want to be in life. I believe that rock bottom gave me the opportunity to look up and only find God. You know, there is the rock bottom for a bunch of people, I believe, is a blessing. I do believe that. It gives them the chance to look up. You can't look to the sides, you can only look up. But when I left prison, I had a support system, which was my family, my church family. I started attending church faithfully, and I was being taught the unadulterated Word of God. I dropped everything, dropped the crowds that I was hanging out with, and I believe that is another big thing. It's very important to change your spiritual address, not hang out with the same people that you were hanging out with. It's a big thing, and I believe that us doing that and being there for people, it's going to change a lot of things in Lovington. A lot of you know somebody that is addicted to drugs, and it's not a beautiful thing. But I believe that through this all, our church family, we're blessed in Lovington. I don't know if you guys have met our pastor. They're here with us today, Shane and Sherilyn Brixner. They're a wonderful addition to Lovington. They've been here for 7 years, or 8. And they helped me through this process of recovering from drug addiction. My dad, my wife, they were all there for me. And I just believe that if I can be there for somebody the way they were there for me, things will change for them. If you give somebody a purpose in life, they'll veer from their ways and they'll change. And I do believe that. There is a portion of scripture that I want to just read to you real quick. It's in Philippians 3:12. And this is in the Amplified Version. It says, "Not that I've already obtained it." It's talking about this goal of being Christ-like, or have already been made perfect, but I actively press on so that I may take a hold of that perfection which Christ Jesus took a hold of me and made me his own. God has been taken out of a bunch of things, school and stuff like that, and I was really amazed to see you guys start this off with prayer. That's awesome. I love it. I believe God is the key thing to recover from addiction and stuff like that. Not bashing any AA or anything like that, but when I got home from prison, they wanted me to attend AA, and I didn't because words are powerful. When you go into an AA meeting, they tell you, "Hey, Mike, you got to introduce yourself as an addict," and I don't believe that. Yeah, I have to introduce myself as, "Hi, I'm Nathan, I'm a meth addict." You know, words are powerful. I believe introducing yourself as being free and not an addict will change a lot of things. Church has been everything for me, and we're doing a 16-week class, which we're going to offer here within this next month. We're going to start it off. We're going to offer a 16-week class. We're going to put them in church and let them hang around sober-minded people. And I believe with the help that from these donations, it'll help us do it on a bigger scale. We started off our ministry the late stages of 2018, we helped a bunch of people get hotels for nights, even a few days at a time, bought breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a bunch of people, sent people back to, I think the furthest was Honduras. Never turned anybody down. We did this all out of our own pocket. Chief has called me, city manager has called me, and we've been glad to help people, and that's what I want to do. I believe the city needs that. If you've seen some pictures of me, I'll show you some real quick pictures of me then and now, but you'll understand why I'm so nervous up here talking to you guys. This has been something that I've always dreamed of, is helping people. And finally getting the chance to do that, it'd be a blessing, I'll end with this portion of scripture, and this is what strongly makes me believe that God is the main reason and the main key to being sober. Isaiah 43:13 says, "Yeah, before the day was, I am He, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who will let it?" I believe if we give God that chance and we put God back in everything that we do, that more people will become sober. And just a quick, that was me before. And that's me now. So, appreciate you guys giving me the chance to talk to you guys, and thank y'all very much.
Nathan, before you leave, if you don't mind, could you, and I'm going to ask pretty much anyone that's going to come up and discuss, let us know how you plan to use the money. And I'm not digging in to find out, but what's your plan? Because as you heard, we've got some more money that is going to be distributed, and then our goal is to, use entities to help far and beyond what we're able to do.
Absolutely.
So if you can just kind of tell us, what you're going to do with it, and that way we get an idea, and other people are listening.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So I would like to be able to advertise a little more, let people know that we are here and that we're here to help them. That's been one of the biggest things that I haven't been able to do. But I've given the PD my cards and stuff like that. They've always been able to reach out to me. But I believe, with just this beginning of it, I'll be able to advertise more, go out and reach people more. We've never been funded by anybody else or anything. It's all just been out of pocket. So we've been very limited on what we can do. But what we have done, it's been big. So what I plan to really do is go and reach families that we have a list of people that I can go and talk to as of now that the uniform can't get in there and go and talk to simply because they're in the uniform. But we're going to be distributing Narcan to these people. There was a couple of overdoses. I mean, you've seen the opioid overdoses in Lovington are pretty big. Fentanyl is a bad thing out there. It's a big thing out there. So we're going to be distributing fentanyl.
We all get the word out.
So we're going to be distributing Narcan and stuff like that. Not fentanyl, I promise. But we're going to be distributing Narcan and just being there for families. That's one of the biggest things is showing them that somebody cares and that somebody is actually there for them. We have a good, my pastor and his family, they're very, very good people. If you haven't met them, please do so after this. They're good people. But that's what we plan to do is reach the families and do what we can. There's lots of things that we can do, but for starters, we're going to advertise more that we are here for them. And I'll say this, and I don't say this to pin flowers on myself or anything, and I normally would never tell anybody this, but there's been times where, they've called me and asked me for help. I had $160-something in my bank account until next payday. and I've split it with somebody, a complete stranger, put them up in a hotel. And the next day, the person that I put up in a hotel completely trashed it. So I had to pay for that, which, you know, it's, you know, God has always provided for us. He's never, ever, ever brought an opportunity to me to where I had to turn somebody down, and I don't plan on turning anybody down. But yeah, we plan to help as many people as we can, just anywhere and everywhere. I mean, I'll leave you guys my contact number, and I'm sure you guys will run into somebody that's hungry one day or stuck on the side of the road someday, and I'll be there to help them, guarantee it.
Do you require a new facility?
No, sir. Our church building, so that's where we're going to be holding some of the classes. Our church just was blessed with a new building. It's down Jefferson Street. Really beautiful building. So that's where we're going to be doing classes and stuff like that for anybody that's addicted. So another thing that we're going to be offering is hopefully some soft handoffs from the police department. So not everybody has to go and get a number and get arrested and start off, you know, getting sent to prison and getting a number and marking their life. That's something that I do want to prevent, if at all possible. One thing is you know, we've done a soft handoff, and I'll give you one example. A gentleman was about to kill himself, and me and my wife were driving around, and so we pull up, and we hear somebody just laying on their horn. And somebody had already called the cops at the time on him, and we didn't want to get too close to the vehicle, but this gentleman was about to kill himself. He was suffering from addiction, suffering from a bunch of different things. Police department got there, and I said, hey man, just give me a chance. Let me talk to this guy, and let me, you know, because they were going to take him to jail. I said, just let me talk to this guy, you know, and just let me handle it. And they did. They did. They let me handle it. Let me take care of it. And we took him to church. He stayed with us for quite some time. And then eventually he left back to where he was from Terre Haute, Indiana. And eventually he died to cancer. But that's one story that we got somebody off the streets from drugs. There's many other ones, but that one right there sticks with me most.
I would also add that out of the 8 entities receiving funding, Mr. Lopez is just one of 2 specific to Lovington. The other are Lee County, but Mr. Lopez is here in Lovington. The last time I dealt with him, it was a February night, very cold, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on shift as chief of police, and he came out at 3 o'clock in the morning to help someone, a transient, get a hotel room. So he's aware of the constraints of, you know, how we spend opioid funds. It's very strict. The Attorney General is very strict on how we spend the funds. And just on a personal note, as someone who's arrested Mr. Lopez more than 5 times,
Really keeping count, are you? Let things go.
Let things go.
If there ever was a living testament that people can change, it's standing right there. He's done great work.
Well, I'd like to reiterate off of Robbie. Thank you very much for coming, Nathan. You said Sharon and Shane are here?
Yes.
I'd like to thank you guys very much for coming tonight. We appreciate it. What I would ask is that at our next commission meeting, because if you weren't that came tonight and told me who you were, I would not know. And I appreciate that. But I'd like to have that at our next commission meeting, a little bit of updating on these nonprofits, who they are, what they do, and how you're planning on utilizing the funds. So I think that would be good for all commissioners to be able to see how we're moving forward, because you said we do have other funding in here, and we want to make sure that it's going to the right hands.
Absolutely.
So we have some of that information right now if you'd like to hear it.
That's fine. But thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much for your time and patience.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, I'd like to mention though, Patrick really played a big role in getting us this funding. I remember that email come across and I didn't know what it was, and I passed it on to him, and he says you got 2 days to respond, and he's the one that responded to that email, and he ended up getting that money. Yeah. So, really turned out good.
Good evening again, Commissioners, Mayor. Okay, so I have everything. I wanted to be as prepared as possible, only because City Manager Miranda didn't, he did this in 2022 and we haven't done it since. So I wanted to be able to answer all your questions and keep files of everything for if, in case we ever get audited by the state. I am going to have files of everything. We're also going to meet with every nonprofit in 6 months, and they're going to give us an update on how they spent the money, or what's left of the money that they haven't spent, and what's going to go forward with that money. Only because this money is going to be with us until, or distributed funds until 2035. And so we're going to have an inflow of money, and I believe right now it's anywhere between $13,000 and $18,000 a year that we're going to get between two different entities. Those were the numbers I had from the last finance director. So Heart's Desire, everybody that's on the list provided me with an email very specific to what they do for substance use disorders and the opioid epidemic. And so Heart's Desire, they're local to Lovington, which is great. They provide housing, they're our warming station. A lot of the people that come through reference our transients and whatnot, they're usually, I won't say obviously, but usually there is a substance use disorder which put them into the predicament that they're in. So Heart's Desire and Mr. Lopez with his High to Higher Ministries, with them being local, we wanted to make sure that we provided for our local first. But then the other ones, CASA, Phoenix House, the Community Drug Coalition, LEADS especially, is a law enforcement assisted diversion program. They deal with a lot of us trying to do that soft handoff to not get them into the system, the people that we're dealing with. Because once you have a record, it's really hard to do what Mr. Lopez did. I mean, he's a testament right there. The Affirming Heart Victim Services of Lee County, that's our child advocacy center. So those are our victims of child abuse, whether it be sexual or neglect or whatnot. Their parents are the ones that are struggling with the drugs. So that one's really dear to me. I use them a lot in my profession as the sergeant over the CID unit here. CASA, a lot of those CASA kids, I used to be on the board for CASA, and then I became a CASA. I got off the board to become a CASA to make more of a difference. But those kids go through it because their parents or even their older siblings witnessing what is going on in their home from the parents, then they get taken out of the home and placed into fosters. But those kids, I mean, they're all over Lee County, and they really suffer a lot from the drug epidemic here in Lee County. But every one of them, they've all sent me something. They've sent me their mission, purpose, mission statement. The Phoenix House, they deal a lot with the domestic violence. A lot of our domestic violence comes because of drug use and the substance use disorders that are going around. So they're all, I have everything. If you have any specific questions, I can answer. But I do have everything in a file ready to go just because we want to make sure that we do it right. Everybody knows that it has to be used for substance use disorders. And like I said, we're going to meet back with them, Chief and I, and the Deputy Chief, just to see where the money is going, how it's going, and just to provide something more in case of an audit.
Well, it sounds like you have it under control.
Yes,
I just want to make sure that we do have it under control.
Yes,
I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
We do also have some other stuff that we're looking into because it can be used for educational purposes to get out to our local schools. Grade effective from like kindergarten to third and then third to sixth, and specific stuff in reference to drug use pamphlets, stuff like that we're starting to look at. We're going to try to get it as soon as possible presented to you guys so that you can see another place of where the money is going. And then for the department in general, we were looking at trying to, and I've already spoken and gotten some information, just not enough. It is a give me one second, a TrueNarc. It's a device that can look, it can go through paper, plastic, foil. It would keep our officers safer when coming into contact with drugs. It's a machine that we're hoping to train everybody with, but the sergeants would be the ones to handle it. So if we come across the kind of drug, whether it be fentanyl, spice, it goes back into the spice ages of what happened a few years ago here in Lee County, but it can read it straight through the paper and tell us what we're dealing with to keep us safer from ingestion and stuff like that. And that's a machine that costs about $30,000, but it's warranted and it comes with training and whatnot, but I just haven't gotten enough information to present that to you guys. But it is something that we can get for the department to help us out and to keep both us and medics safer in the field.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Questions? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anything further, Chief?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, hearing no other questions or discussion, I guess Shannon?
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Before we move on, Mr. Gandy, I was just gonna take, you know, that machine that she was talking about, you no longer have to stick your finger in there and look at it, see what it is. Just see, have them test it for you.
That's why I'm not in the police department.
Yeah, yeah.
No rubber guns and.
Yeah, just to make sure. You gotta make sure what it is. Just can't imagine our guys driving around with $30,000 worth of equipment in the car.
No, we're not there.
We're not there.
No, we're on number two.
I'm ready to go home. I'm waiting for someone
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2025-010, approve advertising of RFP for sale of mobile home at animal shelter.
Okay, motion in a second. Ms. Brock?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I brought this to you before, and now we're going out for requests for sale bids for the mobile home. We didn't find any use for it within the city, so I'm asking to go out for bids. And there are a few pictures for you so that you can see on the bid, on the RFP, it does have a minimum bid of $5,000. It's going to cost anywhere from $2,000 to $4,200 possibly to move it, depend on, and the bidder is going to be responsible for that part of it. The city will be responsible for removing like the utilities, stuff like that, making way for it to be removed from the facility. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions or discussion. Shannon?
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. All right, Ms. White?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
All right, second. We have a motion and second to,
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mrs. Boydston is out sick today, but if you have any questions on the expense report, I'll attempt to answer them or get you answers by tomorrow.
Okay, David, vendor on page number 4, 11050 for Hallmeyer Electric, and I know it was with wastewater with the lift stations, and I'm just wanting to find out what this entailed.
We did a pilot project when we were having a lot of problems with Eversol, our regular SCADA contractor, specifically for the water field. We looked at other firms. Commissioner Gandy recommended someone, and we looked at Hallmeyer. So basically, we had SCADA installed on 3 of our lift stations because none of them have it. And Robert can, I guess, elaborate a little bit on that, but that's kind of it's a high-ticket item. SCADA is expensive.
Right.
But Robert, do you want to mention anything else on those?
We have SCADA, like I said, installing those lift stations, the main ones, some of the main ones, to see what they were gonna do, but help us out. It's done a good thing. It helps with, pumps and stuff, save some money sometimes on pumps. If they're running hot, it'll tell you they're running hot. You can actually go out and turn them off, or manually turn them off, reset them, or whatever you need to do. It was an expensive, trial. It's worked so far. I think we probably saved at the hill, Mark was up over there, I think we, 3 pumps. Before, the same thing would go, the pumps like 20 grand a piece. We've saved 3 pumps on that part, just from them getting hot, and go out there and turn them off. Clean the filter out, take them out, clean them up, and make that work that way.
So does this send it remotely to your phone that you
Yes,
see
sir,
the
they do.
alarms and that?
Yes, sir, they do. I mean, it's still remote, but you still go out and check. I mean,
Right.
Put your eyes on it and go down and see what it is. Because you can set it, reset it, but if the temperature's high, you can actually set the temperature's high, you can go out and pull the pump, clean it up, and everything. In the past, without it, the pump just goes until it burns up.
Now, did we have SCADA on these before, or did we not?
No, in the past, before I got here, they said they had a small SCADA. It wouldn't tell you temperatures or anything like that. It would just tell you if the power was off. Nothing major. But these will actually tell you if it's in high tide, something happens, with the rains or whatever, it tells you this lot of information.
Okay, thank you.
This
I had one other one, on page number 3, vendor at the bottom of the page, 13202, Granicus.
Granicus, that is our new city website.
No.
No, that's going to be our new software
Sorry.
for the,
For Novus
for
Agenda.
for our agendas.
Right.
Agenda packets,
Them. Yes,
the
sorry.
creation.
Novus Agenda is essentially they're
Going
ending
away.
support on it, and we have to upgrade to their new software called Peak, I believe.
So is this a annual fee here, is this,
I
it
believe
says
it-
first year fee, so.
Yeah, I believe they're, well, with that check, when I saw it, I think it was equipment to stream also.
Right.
And then, but there is a yearly fee associated with it.
I think the yearly fee's like under $2,000. But we have no choice on this because Novus Agenda is going away.
And I thought I'd seen this on another one on last month, or maybe not, I don't know. And I was just curious, I just questioned it because I haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 16,000 every year.
No, there's no way it's 16,000 a year.
So it was basically just for equipment, you were saying?
We have to pay for the software, we have to pay for the subscription of the software, hardware, and there was another check that I do believe might have been in late November, early December that we sent, but unfortunately I can't remember what it's for.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I thought I'd seen it once before, but maybe I'll question it, because it wasn't that much, but, okay, other than that, I'm good.
All right, anything further? Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Commissioner Poe.
Yes.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you to everyone that came this evening. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. With that, the items of the agenda are exhausted and we are adjourned.
Time to get to KFC.